With the release of the latest volume, we got a piece of extra material called the Egoist Bible, which is an extensive data book about the characters. This is the second one in the collection, so I wanted to make a cumulative video for the both of them. That way it's easy to find all the extra information in a singular place. Now before jumping right into all the information, I want to shout out a bunch of people on Twitter who provided some of the pages and translations. And with that being said, let's begin. The book starts with a bunch of colour illustrations, which we've seen before, and right after we have the character sheets. Now I do want to mention that not every character has been given information. The only ones we do have are the characters who played in the U20 game or are reserve players like Ishikari and Hiragi. There are characters like Endoji, Nishioka and Haiji, etc. who still remain a mystery, but I made a video earlier this year dedicated to them, so if you want to check that out, please do. Before jumping into the characters, I do want to say a big thing in the second Egoist Bible is that we get the exact timeline of Blue Lock. We know that Blue Lock starts on November 20th and the first selection lasted a full month. We know there is a 10-day training period, and so the second selection starts December 30th, and we know the first clear team completed it in 7 days. But we also know it lasts a full month for the other teams. We know on January 30th that the second selection has completed with the 35 survivors, and we know that the selection and tryouts lasted for 3 weeks, and so we know that February 27th is the match against the U20 team. And we know there's a 2-week break for the Blue Lockers, and we begin the NEL on March 10th. We can then go into the interesting part of the book and the largest portion of the video, and that is the character profiles. First up is Izugi Yoichi. His colour is fluorescent green, and his weapons are his spatial awareness, his direct shot and his adaptability. He is in fact 16, which may confuse people, but he does turn 17 during the NEL. And as we know, he's from the Saitama Prefecture and played for Ichinan. And we also know he has a perfect vision. He doesn't have a motto yet, and his favourite player is Noel Noah. We get some more additional information, including his favourite animal being a spiny lobster, which we've seen some merch with, and he prefers mushrooms over bamboo shoots, which are a Japanese treat. Then finally we have some other things like what he does on his spare time, like playing soccer, reading manga and taking a stroll, and then what he'll do with 100 million yen. The next character we see is Kira, whose character colour is cream, and we don't actually know his weapon. We do know he was born in Tokyo, but he played in the Saitama Prefecture against Isugi's team, where he played for a team called Masukaze Kuro. We know his nickname is the National Treasure of Japanese Soccer, and his motto is "I'm here because of all of you." His weakness is he can't understand the dark side of others, hence why he got eliminated, and his favourite manga is funny enough Death Note. We do see the things that make him happy and sad are related to his narcissism, and we see he has a staggering 1,842 Valentine chocolates. And then we see stuff like he would spend his day off playing games with friends, going to karaoke, or even going on dates. Next up is Bachara Megaru. His colour is yellow and his weapon is his dribbling ability and passing technique. His birthday is August 8th, which is his character's dedicated number, and we know his motto is "if it's easy, then it's easy." And we know his strength is his optimism, and his weakness being that he's too carefree. His favourite animal is a dolphin, which once again we see on merch and on his t-shirt, and we also know that he cries a lot. And we know that he didn't get any Christmas presents, but instead his mum just cooked pancakes. And we know he will dribble as far as he can go on his last day of Earth, similar to his light novel. The next character to talk about is Chihiro Hyoma, whose colour is vivid pink and his weapon is his super fast legs. He is from Kagoshima and his 50-meter time is 5.77 seconds. We're given his nickname as the Red Panther and his motto is to rush forward. Plus his strength is being very active in what he likes to do, while his weakness being called moody. His favourite animal is a black cat, which we see in his light story, and even though it says he had 0 Valentine chocolates, that's simply because he was in the hospital and couldn't get them. He would rather be in the future, simply because he'd like to see what the record times are for the 100-meter sprints, and if he wasn't playing soccer then he'd still do something relating to his legs and speed. And onto the final Egoist 4 member, we have Kunigami, whose colour is orange and his weapon being his left foot middle range shot and his physicality. And we know he is from the Akita Prefecture, where he played for Saido High School Soccer Club, and his family consists of his parents and his 2 other sisters. He is also the only character so far that has a left dominant leg. We also know that his motto is fair and square, just like in episode 1. his strengths being him being straightforward and honest, while his weakness being he doesn't know what to do when complimented. We also note that his favourite movie is Iron Man or The Avengers, leaning into his hero theme, and his favourite manga being One Piece. We know that his favourite animal is a polar bear, and his fetish is innate, and specifically both men and women, and so canonically we have our first bi character. And we also note that the last thing he cried to was watching the movie E.T., specifically when he gets resurrected, which is a bit like the wild card. And finally we have the additional questions like the Christmas questions, and what he'll do on his day off, including his muscle training and running. Since I'm doing both books, the next Team Z character to talk about is Kuon, whose colour is reddish brown and his weapon is his jumping ability. He is from Yamaguchi and his height is 6'1", and with his birthday being November 16th, that means he turned 18 right before Blue Lock started. He is also one of the few characters whose family is not stated. We go on to see that his motto is people will come to understand each other, his strength is his communication skills, and his weakness is he is too concerned about people's perspectives, so he has trouble giving his own opinion. His hobby is magic tricks, and we also know his favourite song is Everything by Southern All Stars. The thing that makes him most happy is being trusted, conversely the thing that makes him sad is being betrayed, which is a bit hypocritical given his role in the story. He would listen to the Southern All Stars on his last day on Earth and even on his days off, and the last gift he asked for Christmas was a lie detector, which leads into the betrayal aspect of his character. The next Team Z character to talk about is Raiji Jingo, whose character colour is lightning yellow, and his self-proclaimed weapon is his shooting technique, but in reality it's more his stamina. He's from the Nagasaki prefecture and his family consists of his father, mother and an older sister. His motto isn't actually sexy football, but instead, there is no road in front of me, I can create a path behind me, which is actually a poem called Distance by Takamura Kutaru. And we go on to see that his strength is everything, while his weakness being his perfect, he doesn't know what to improve on. He's someone whose favourite subject is PE while dislikes everything else, and he has a weird fetish of himself. Surprisingly though, his number of Valentine chocolates is actually 10, which is significantly higher than I thought. As for the additional questions, he probably has the most interesting answers, as he asks for superpowers for the last gift, so that he can improve in soccer. On his final day on Earth, he would climb the Statue of Liberty, and if he received 100 million yen, he'd live in New York. And we have his favourite legend being himself, as he will make history. Next up we have the womanizer Imamura, whose character colour is baby pink, and his weapon is his speed and technique, although we never saw this in the first selection as he did nothing. He is the oldest player on Team Z, and a large portion of his character is associating with women, including his sleeping time as he cuts it to hang out with them. His motto is thrust your lower body, and his hobby is seducing women. We go on to see that his strength is forgetting things after sleeping, and his weakness is he's too carefree. Even as a womanizer, he got 102 Valentine chocolates. And we get into his favourite type being all women being cute, and his fetish being lips. And we also know that he last cried when he got slapped trying to hit on someone. We also have some additional stuff including his favourite colour being orange, and a magazine he often reads is the Weekly Young magazine. And the final 3 questions continue with this theme about women. Next up we have Gagamaru Jin, whose colour is silver, and his weapon is tackling, jumping and physicality. He is from the Wakayama prefecture, and he previously played for Yasai High School Soccer Club, which is the word for wild. He actually doesn't know his dominant leg, and his family isn't given, but if I had to guess I'd assume it's the bears. His motto is all natural and his hobby is reading manga, as we see below as he lists so many. And we see that his strength is his physical abilities, while his weakness being he is bad at technology. His favourite animal is of course a bear, and his favourite subject is PE, and dislikes anything else. And we also know his fetish is physical beauty, while his favourite type is someone like Cameron Diaz. And finally, on the last day on Earth, he'll just chill on a mountain. If he were to receive 100 million yen, he'd return it, and he spends his time off by meditating in bamboo forests or talking with animals. Next up we have Narahaya, whose character colour is caramel and his weapon being his off-the-ball movements. Being born March 20th and being 15 makes him the youngest character in Blue Lock, even younger than Nico. We know he's from the Kagawa Prefecture and his family only consists of his siblings. And we know he only gets 4 hours of sleep because he's working part-time jobs as he tries to support his family. His motto is happy of happy, and he started playing soccer at the age of 5. His hobby is cooking as he cooks for his family, and we know his strength is being honest to himself while his weakness being he doesn't think of others because he's thinking of his family. His favourite animals are meerkats, and the magazine he often reads are the shonen jumps that people throw away. He refuses to impulsively buy anything in the shop, and the thing that makes him happy is smiling, while the thing that makes him sad is getting the poor man treatment. We know he doesn't celebrate Christmas at home, and the last thing he'd do on Earth would be to cook a meal for his family. And the thing he does on his time off is just doing part-time jobs to support them. The next character is the goalkeeper for Team Z, and that is Iamon, whose colour is mocha green and his weapon being an all-arounder. As he was born November 19th, that means he turned 18 the day before Blue Lock started. As for his motto, it's to become a giver, and his strength being his discipline, seriousness and reliability, while his weakness being he can't refuse a favour. All of these positive qualities were passed down by his parents. Now his favourite food is coffee, while he dislikes cream puffs. His favourite animal are orangutans. His favourite subjects include traditional Japanese, modern literature and calligraphy, while disliking art. We also know he likes being relied on, and dislikes being considered boring or stuck up. And finally, he had 3 chocolates for Valentine's. As for the additional questions, he'll just brew coffee or tea on his final day, and if you're to receive 100 million yen, he'll just save it. And now we have the final Team Z member, Igarashi Garumu, also known as Ikiguri. His colour is chestnut brown, and his weapon is his unwavering heart and his militia foul. He is from the IG Prefecture, and his previous team was the Namusin High School Soccer Club, where we also have Namasan being the phrase he also constantly says. Surprisingly enough, he's the only other character with Isugi with a perfect vision. His motto is I won't inherit the temple, which is the constant theme in his character, and also seems like a big Tsubasa Honda fan. And then we have his self-proclaimed strengths being his persistence, his hungry mentality, his motivation and enthusiasm, while his weakness being he is the son of a monk. His favourite animals are dragons, his favourite subject PE while disliking English, and what makes him happy is being acknowledged while disliking inheriting the temple. As a Buddhist monk, he didn't have Christmas, but he did wish that the reindeers would go crazy and destroy the temple, and goes on to say if he didn't play soccer he'll just straight up run away from home. And finally, he would like to know the future as he wants to know what happens to the temple and hopes he isn't there. And now it's time to go over the other stratums, starting with Team Y. And of the 2 key players, let's talk about Nico first, whose colour is sky grey, and his weapons being his eyes and his brain. He's 15 and the second youngest character after Naruhaya. His motto is the eyes are the representation of a person, and we know he picked up soccer relatively recently, as he beat his bully. We know his hobbies are watching anime, and each season he watches the first 3 episodes of each anime to determine what to continue watching. He likes music and science, but dislikes swimming in particular as he doesn't like people seeing his forehead, which is also an answer for what makes him sad. And what makes him happy is if the enemy forfeits in a Yu-Gi-Oh duel, which continues with the additional question if he received 100 million yen, where he would buy the expensive Yu-Gi-Oh card. And we also know on his last day on Earth he'll just shave all of his hair off. As for the other Team Y member, we have Okawa, where his character colour is mustard yellow and his weapon being his shooting. We know he's from the Kumamoto Prefecture and played for Seno High School, and we also know he's the top scorer in that prefecture. His motto is fight nonchalantly and win solemnly, and his hobby includes memorizing train station names and routes. We also know his strength is his mental control, while his weakness is people thinking that he's cold, instead of just being nonchalant. We also know his favourite subjects include PE, English and music, which will be important later. He likes being seen as cool while disliking being left out. He last cried when he had an injury and had to miss out playing soccer and a specific concert he was looking forward to. And the final additional questions lean into the music aspect of his character and playing guitar, including buying a studio if he received 100 million yen. The next person is the Team X player, Baro, where we know his colour is red and his weapon being his high accurate mid-range shot and his charging ability. We know he is from the Akita Prefecture and has 2 younger sisters. And we also know that his motto is keeping things tidy and in order. He is also one of the first characters with a nickname, and that is King of Heel. His favourite player is Mario Balotelli, who also dyed their hair red. His hobby is cleaning, and we know he dislikes wafers specifically because it makes a mess. We also know he watches The Dark Knight to pump himself up before a match. And as we know, his strength is his strong ego, while his weakness he refuses to elaborate. On to the next set of questions, we see once again that the theme goes around cleaning, where he even cleans the bathroom before himself. And we know that overwhelming respect makes him happiest, while the thing that makes him sad is anything dirty. We also know he stopped getting Christmas presents after his 6th birthday, as he got his soccer ball by then, and he spends his day just cleaning. With the Team W players, we have the Wanama twins, and the first one to talk about is Kaisuke. We see that his character color is dark brown and his weapon being his combination play. We also know he is from the Kagoshima prefecture and previously played for the same team as Chigiri. We know that his motto is combination is beautiful and his hobby is watching clouds, which leads to his favourite season being summer as he gets to see beautiful cumulonimbus clouds. We know he's the only one able to read his brother's facial expressions, which also leads into his weakness as he has no interest besides him. His nickname is the Twin Pillar of Fujitsu, which is the nickname of the school, and we know his favourite animal is a crocodile, which is why he has one in his hair. We also know he prefers bamboo shoots, and he also believes his brother does too. We go on to see he has a deep relationship with Junichi, where if he were to receive 100 million yen, he'll just give it to him, and on his last day of Earth just spend time with him. As for his twin brother Junichi Wanama, he basically has the same first page, including the same character color, weapon, and even the previous team. His motto is Kwa, which is the facial expression he does, and we also know he has the same nickname as another twin pillar of Rajitsu. We go on to see his strength is his strong poker face, and his weakness being people can't seem to tell what he's thinking. And we also get to see that he is a big Detective Conan fan. We see his type are people with nice facial expressions, and what makes him most sad is when people read his expressions that he intends to hide. We also see he prefers mushrooms and believes his brother thinks the same, but we actually know they're opposites. As for the final set of questions, they all relate to Kaisuke. As for Team V, our first character is Nagi, whose character color is black, and his weapon being his trapping. He's from the Kanagawa prefecture and his family consists of his mother and his father, who let him live a very hands-off life. He is also the tallest character so far at 6'3". His motto and catchphrase is "It's a pain", and we know he started playing soccer in the past 6 or so months. We also know that his strength is being a pacifist, while his weakness being he finds everything bothersome, which is why he dislikes crabs as it's too tedious to eat. His favourite animals are the ones associated with sleep or being lazy. Instead of picking future or past, he actually would sell the time machine for money and live an easy life. And we also know he has a lot of apps on his phone. He likes being left alone, and what makes him sad is having his free time taken away. He doesn't know what he'll do on his last day on Earth, as it's a pain to think about, and if he was in a deserted island he'll just bring his cactus friend Choki. And as we know, what he does on his spare time includes playing games on his phone, reading manga, etc. The next person to talk about is Ryo, whose character color is purple and his weapon being a dexterity of all play. Basically, he's good at everything. He is from the Tokyo prefecture and he was previously from Hakuwa High School, the same team as Nagi. Ryo's motto is "I get everything I want", where his strength is he can do anything, while the weakness being he just gets bored easily. His favourite mangas all associate with money, which is a big theme in his character. His first confession story is from his elementary teacher, where they had a crush on him, but that's because of his money, but it's still kinda weird. And we also know he's very talented academically. We also know he's very popular and got 48 Valentine chocolates. We know he wants to see the future just to see what to invest in, and if he wasn't a soccer player he'd live a boring life, doing what his parents still told him, where he describes himself as a jack of all trade, ordinary person. And if he was abandoned in a deserted island he'll just bring a GPS chip to get tracked down and saved. The final Team V member is Zentetsu Tsurugi, where I'm not sure why he's not called Tsurugi, but that's besides the point. His character color is dull grey, where his weapon is his explosive acceleration. He is also from the Saitama prefecture, which is the same as Isuki, which is a bit weird since we've never seen them interact, and maybe we had Kira's team defeat him in the semi-finals. We know his whole family are successful and smart, and he is from a team called Kashikoi Academy. We know his motto is "Carry on according to your wishes", and we know that his strength is he is honest, nice and diligent, while his weakness being that he is dumb, which is a large theme in his character. as we see in his favourite subjects being nothing while he dislikes everything, simply because he is stupid. Since his family are dentists, then the first thing he does is brush his teeth, and we know the type of person he's after is someone intelligent who doesn't care that he is a fool. As for the final questions, he would run at full speed on his last day on Earth, and he'd bring a toothbrush to a deserted island. We also know that he has a pet dog. With that, we know all the first selection characters, so we can delve into the second. But before then, we also get the names of all the other characters in that stratum. The first of the new batch is Itoshi Rin, whose colour is turquoise and his weapon being his accurate kicks, his technique, his tactical vision, and his physical abilities. He is from the Kanagawa Prefecture and previously on the Kamakura United Youth, which won the Japan U15 competition. He has two mottos, the first being "This is a battleground" or "How lukewarm," and we know that his favourite player is David Beckham as his shots curve just like his own. His hobbies relate to horror games or movies, and his strengths are he can play soccer, while his weakness being he is unsociable. We also know that his favourite animals are owls. He doesn't know what makes himself happy, but the thing that makes him most sad is when someone else is better than him at soccer. On his final day on Earth, he would have a fight and compete against Sai, and he spends his time off playing horror games or watching horror movies. The next second selection character introduced was Ayu, whose character colour is champagne gold, and his weapon being his jumping ability, and also his armor leg reach. He is from the Tochigi Prefecture, and his previous team is the Koko High School Soccer Club, which is the word for halo. He is also our tallest character so far at 6'5". His motto is to live stylishly and die stylishly, and we also know his favourite player is Andy Carroll as he is beautiful. He refuses to answer the weakness question as it isn't stylish, but his strength is described to be beautiful and his stylish parts. We also get his nickname, which is Giant of Beauty. He does love horses, in particular Frederick the Great, with the last thing that made him cry was the death of Deep Impact. His character is also very into Buddhism, where his favourite magazine is Daihoren, a Buddhist magazine, and his first love being a Buddhist statue. He also got 53 Valentine chocolates, which means he got more than Rio. On his last day on Earth, he would sit in front of a mirror and have a heart-to-heart conversation with a beautiful reflection, and if he wasn't a soccer player, he would just spread Osha around the world. Next up we have Tokamitsu, whose colour is dark green and his weapon being his agility, stamina and physical strength. And we know he is from the Niigata Prefecture and previously played for Daruma East. His motto is "Every little bit of effort counts," and he doesn't know his own strength, and if he did, he wouldn't claim it because he doesn't want to be hated. And as we all know, his weakness is his negative attitude. His favourite animals are Triceratops as it can protect himself, and he likes math and PE, where he just dislikes putting his hand up in class as he doesn't want to seek attention. As it may lead into the thing that makes him most sad, and that's being hated. As for the mushroom and bamboo shoot question, he flip-flops between the answers to avoid getting hate. And the thing that would make him most happy is if someone said to him that you're perfectly fine the way you are. He would pick to go in the past to build up confidence for the younger me, or that he would be scared to get hate from him. We know he browses websites and reads movie reviews to feel like he watches them, and then finds online reviews. And we also know that he is actually a black belt in judo. Next up we have the explosive demon Shido, whose colour is shocking pink and his weapon being his penalty area scoring and his dragon drive. We know he is from the Tokyo Prefecture, but his family remains a mystery and he didn't play for a previous team, which makes you think how did he even get picked up, which I'll answer in a future video. We also know he is our first ambidextrous character as he says both legs are nitro. We know that his motto is "Everything is for the explosion," which leads into his hobby of explosions too. His favourite animals are velociraptors, and his type and stuff like that aren't listed. And we see what makes him happiest is passes, and the thing that makes him most sad is when people don't explode. And the most interesting answer is what last made him cry was at the end of the day when he became nothing. In the final set of questions we see his disdain for Santa, and he spends his day off becoming nothing, free from everything. And if he wasn't playing soccer, he would be a painter or sculptor, which is a callback to him liking art. And his favourite legend is the Reader, where he gives some inspirational advice to us. The next character to talk about is Karasu, whose character colour is dark blue and his weapon being his analytical skills and his handwork. And we know he's from Osaka and played for the team Bambi Ahsoka Youth. His motto is "Don't lose your intelligence and curiosity," and his hobby is human observation, analysis and assessment. He is a character who is rational, cool and determined, but he can't be nice to people, which is something he wants to fix. His first love was a girl called Marissa when he was 8, while the first time being confessed to was the same girl at his graduation, but since they were going to different schools, nothing happened. But we do know he just thinks of himself as ordinary. We also know that he is afraid of the water, and his favourite type of girl is someone who is strong and smart, while his fetish is speaking and voice intelligence. We also know that the first thing he washes is his hair, which he puts a lot of gel in. As for the additional questions, he would want to be a management consultant if he wasn't a soccer player, as he wants to make mediocrity extraordinary. Up next we have the ninja Otoya, whose character colour is Wakakusa Iro, and his weapons are his off-the-ball movements and his swiftness. He is from the Aichi prefecture and previously played for Kirigakure. His motto is akin to something like "depends if I'm excited," and his strength is he forgets things when he goes to sleep, which is also his weakness. He is similar to Imamura too, as he is also a womanizer, and we know his favourite type is someone cheerful and honest. We know he likes getting excited while he dislikes being rejected, and the thing that makes him last cry was he cheated on his girlfriend and got slapped. We know he is someone who enjoys the moment and hang out with everyone, doing parties or going on dates. And we also know if he wasn't a soccer player, he'll just produce chill music. Up next we have the model Yukamiya, whose character colour is red-orange and its weapon being his dribbling and his gyro shot. Being born on April 28th and being 18, he would be one of the oldest people in Blue Lock. As for his eyesight, we don't get a specific number, but we do know it's bad. And we know his 50-meter dash is barely slower than Chigiri. We do know that his motto is "give it your all in a singular moment," and his favourite player is Edgar Davids, who is someone who's famous for his glasses. And we know he perceives his strength as his competitiveness and is strict with himself, which also could be his weakness as he can't be interested in others. And we also know his favourite food are blueberries, as they believe to help eyesight. He is given the title the 1v1 Emperor, which leads into his favourite animal, the Emperor Penguin. We know he got a lot of Valentine chocolates from his modelling agency, but there were too many to count. And he likes warm support, and his specific type is someone who laughs a lot and looks out for him. We know his first crush was his friend's older sister, while also getting kissed on the forehead for his first confession. We know he enjoys reading in his spare time, and if he was not a soccer player, he believes that's impossible. We also see that he prefers the future, as he wants to see if there's a cure for his condition. As for the next character, we have Hiyori, whose character colour is sky blue and his weapon being his passing. He is from the Kyoto prefecture and previously played for Bambi Osaka Youth, the same team as Karasu. He is left-footed and actually 6 foot, which may surprise people. As for his motto, it is "life isn't a game, but games are fun." His hobby is gaming, and even his weakness, favourite song, movie and manga all relate to gaming. He seems to like being alone, which is his favourite type and what makes him happy, but his fetish is actually a fractured girl like Toda Erika in Spec, which is by far the weirdest fetish so far. And we also know that he got 4 Valentine chocolates, with 1 being a guy. As for the additional questions, it continues with the gaming theme, as he wants a Nintendo Switch or even invest in gaming companies. As for the past and future, he would prefer the past to see his parents younger. He would like to see how they turned out this way and even potentially forgive them. The next character we have is Nanase, whose character colour is Cinderella White, and his weapon being his movement to support allies and his off the ball passing. Being born on January 1st and being 15 means he would be the 3rd youngest character so far. He is from the Ibaraki prefecture and previously played for Rainbow High School Soccer Club, which is the pun on his name. We do know he is right-footed, but learns that he is in fact ambidextrous later on. As for his motto, it is "pour your soul into everything you do," and we do know that his hobby is karaoke and he loves playing soccer. He likes his mum's cooking, but dislikes milk like Kaiser, although for different reasons. We do know that he likes PE, technology and home economics, and specifically he is good at soldering. And then we have his dislike subjects include Japanese, math, science and social studies, where his grades are extremely low. We also know that he had 1 Valentine chocolate, which was from his childhood friend. He was also confessed to in his 2nd year of middle school by a girl and questioned if a guy and a girl can actually be just friends. As for the other questions, we do know that on the last day of Earth he would play soccer, and he spends his time off playing soccer, and he emphasizes this. And if he wasn't a soccer player, he would play American football. Next up is Kiora, whose character colour is peacock blue, but his weapon's actually not stated in the character profile, but we know in episode Naoki it's his nimble movements, his unyielding balance, and his ground plays. He's from the Fukuoka Prefecture and he is 5'5", the shortest blue locker left. But despite his height, he has a 55kg grip strength, which is one of the highest in the data book. We do know his motto is sharpen your blade and prepare for battle, and we know he started playing soccer at the age of 2 with his brothers. He is a very big breakdancer and his weakness is he thinks everything's a fight. His favourite animal is a peacock like his colour, and the first time he was confessed to was in middle school, as 2 twins confessed at the same time, and so he was in a borderline position, but he rejected both. We also know he hit his head while breakdancing, causing him to cry and required stitches. And going into the borderline theme of his character, he dislikes studies in general and prefers being on the borderline of surviving, aka passing the test. We know he breakdances in his time off, and if he wasn't even a soccer player, he'd be breakdancing too, even striving to get a gold medal. Next up we have Corona, whose character colour is peach, and his weapon is also unknown, but the NEL says it's his speed in tight turns. He's from the Hokkaido Prefecture and previously played for Kirikazan High School Soccer Club. We know his motto is I take care of my own mood, which leads into his strength of keeping good distance and relationships with others. And we see his weakness is he is careless and he repeats it twice like his character gimmick. And his favourite food is twisted bread as it's similar to his braided hair. We know his favourite animal is a great white shark and he likes subtle affection. And we also find out that he has a pet hedgehog who passed away. We also know he has a second hedgehog called Pokari who he would bring to a deserted island. And if he was not a soccer player, he would be a trimmer or a hairdresser. The next character to talk about is Hiroki, whose character colour is pastel vermilion and his weapon is unknown. But judging by his episode Naki performance, it is his trapping and his intellectual plays. And we also learned that he is from the Gunma Prefecture and he previously played for Hoshizuku. His character theme and motto is Big Data Doesn't Lie, and that leads into his strength of calmly analysing, but also leads into his weakness being that he can't deal with people outside his data, which is why he lost in episode Naki. And we also learned that his other hobby is tarot reading. His ideal type of people who are compatible with his data, while the thing that makes him most sad are actions outside of it. As for the additional questions, if he wasn't a soccer player, he would be a fortune teller or investor. And so if he were to receive 100 million yen, then he would just buy stock. And if he were to pick the past or future, he would see the future just to learn the data. The final blue locker to talk about is Ishikari, whose character colour is mocha beige and his weapons being his headers and his height. We know he is from the Kagawa Prefecture and he stands at 200 centimeters, which is about 6'7", which gives him the nickname the tallest high school student in Japan. We know his motto is to live a strong life and he started playing at the age of 4 as his parents recommended multiple sports. His self-proclaimed strength is he is very tall and no one can beat him in a fight, while his weakness is he doesn't seem to care about details and seem to hurt the feelings of sensitive people without realizing it. But the most important thing in this section is that his hobby is actually basketball, as it will come up later. We also go on to see that he is a big Queen fan and also in Dragon Ball, which is why his favourite type is someone similar to Android 18. We learn his favourite animal is a Brachiosaurus, the tallest dinosaur, and he seems to like being considered big in the body and heart. We also learn his first love was at the age of 7, and this was on a cruise ship where he stalked her and basically she told him to get lost. But the most important thing in this section is actually his fascination with basketball, and each progressing question he comes to realize he prefers basketball over soccer, and in the deserted island section he realizes he would prefer to be a professional basketball player, and so he picks pass to tell his younger self to focus on basketball. And so he decides to quit soccer, which is likely why he didn't get a salary in the NEL. Now let's talk about the U20 characters, and first up we have Itoshi Sai. We know his character colour is Azuki Red, and his weapon is his world-class kicking accuracy, his technique, tactical vision and physical ability. We know he was born October 10th, which is his jersey number, and we also know he plays for the Real youth team. We also know he's from the Kanagawa Prefecture, and he's Rin's brother. He is the only character so far that does not have a motto. We know his favourite player is Alvaro Recoba, as he's a left-footed player too who creates a rainbow on the pitch, and he started playing at the age of 1. We know his strength is being able to see things objectively, while his weakness being he doesn't know anything except soccer. We know his favourite rice companion is salted kelp, and we know Spain doesn't have it, so he gets his parents to send him some. And we know his favourite TV show is Chibi Maruko-chan, as it reminds him of home. His favourite animal is a seagull, as he likes migratory birds that don't stay in one place, and his favourite brands are the ones that just sponsor him, as they have good eyes on betting on him. His nickname is the Treasure of Japan, which also leads into the thing that makes him most sad, which is being forced to carry the weight of Japanese soccer on his shoulders. But the thing that makes him most happy is a play beyond his imagination. As for the final set of questions, the last Christmas present he wished for is his undiscovered talent. He spends his days off gazing at the sea, and if he wasn't a soccer player, we'd know he'd be living a normal, happy life, and maybe his personality wouldn't have turned out like this. The next character to talk about is the U20 captain, and that is Aiku, whose character has two colours, navy and neon yellow. And we know that his weapon is his strong physical ability, his dashing, spatial awareness, jumping and covering. We know he is from Stockholm, Sweden, and his family consists of his German-Swedish father and his Japanese mother, plus he has two other sisters. His motto is live within your means, and his strength is he is calm, rational and realistic, while his weakness being he likes gambling and seeking out unpredictable relationships. We know his favourite rice side dish is salted squid entrails, but he would also like alcohol, although he's still 19. We know his hobbies are mahjong, horse racing and pachinko, and we also know his favourite animals are baby chicks. The thing that makes him most happy is feeling anything good or disliking anything painful, and his ideal type is someone who isn't a hassle to break up with. We know he first fell in love at the age of 7 with a random girl in his class, and we also know that he prefers to be the one to ask someone out, as he likes the chase. We know he spends his time off looking for playmates, both guys and girls, and just enjoys himself, which means he is our second canonically bi character. We know he'll bring alcohol to the deserted island, where he jokes about only drinking it once he hits 20. And finally he would pick the future, as he wants to see how Japanese soccer has evolved. And next up is the other centre back for the U20 team, Neo, whose character colour is deep purple and his weapon is pressing with his body to prevent them facing forward. We know he is from the Kochi prefecture and previously played for Sunflame Hiroshima. His motto is once I bite, I never let go, and his nickname is the Doberman. We know his favourite player is Gvardiol, who plays as a centre back for Man City, which is his current team's counterpart in Blue Lock. We know that his hobby is boxing, and his strength is he can never let his prey escape, whether it be soccer, friendship or women, while his weakness is that he is persistent. We know his favourite celebrity is Yamanouchi Suzu, and we also know that he had one Valentine chocolate from his ex-girlfriend, where we know he last cried when she dumped him. We know the thing that makes him most happy is being appealed with happy emotions, while disliking appealing to hate from women. Similar to Aiku, we know he tries to confess first, and we know the last gift he asked for were boxing gloves, where a lot of the other questions here also relate to boxing, including the fact that he still has ambitions to be a professional boxer. And we know that he would pick the future as he wants to know what kind of person he will turn out to be, and if he turned into a weirdo, he would go back in the present and start over. Next up is the right fullback, that is Neru, who plays on Barca Munich. His character colour is deep vermilion and his weapon is his lightning fast response. We know he's from the Miyagi prefecture and previously played for Tsukuba University. We go on to see that his motto is early to bed, early to rise, fast to get ahead, and we see that his strength is he is easy to get along with, and his weakness being he can't be himself around tough people. We also get our first glimpse into his character theme, and that is a Pokemon enthusiast, where even in the next section his favourite animal is Pikachu. We know his favourite celebrity is Utani Iku, who is the voice actor of Pikachu and Chopper, and we know he impulsively buys Pokemon goods at the convenience store. The thing that makes him most happy are acts of kindness, but the thing that makes him most sad are being forced to listen to complaints. As for the additional questions, we know in his time out he just works out, plays Pokemon Go, or goes to Pokemon centers. And we know if he wasn't playing soccer, he would be working at Nintendo. His favourite historical figure is Walt Disney, as he created Pixar, and we know if he was stuck on a deserted island, he would bring a Pikachu figure just to be not lonely. And then he would pick the future as he wants to see the end of the world. And the final member of the Iron Quartet and the left fullback is Darai, where we know his character colour is light brown and his weapon is his predictions. We know he's from the Niigata prefecture and previously played for Jishinomiya University. We know his character theme is about shadows and his motto being have a shadow as strong as light, and we also know his hobby is visiting abandoned ruins. We go on to see that his strength is he is always calm and can see the world from the shadows, while his weakness being he is too cynical. We know his nickname is Galasso and his fetish and favourite type both relating to a person's shadow. And we know the thing that makes him most happy is seeing people that make him think, what is this guy? while the thing he dislikes most is being stood behind and being forced to smile. For the bonus questions, the last gift he asked for was a parasol, once again leading to the shadow theme, and if he wasn't a soccer player, he would be a ruin hunter who travels around the world. And we know he picked the future simply because he just wants to see the Earth in the future. Next up is the goalkeeper for the U20 team, and that is Fukaku Gen. And we know his character colour is deep green, while his weapon being his physical ability. We know he's from the IT Prefecture and previously played for Ryusu Kaisahi University. And finally, the most important thing is that his family only consists of his father and himself. We know his motto is don't get caught off guard, and his favourite player being Donnarumma, who is an Italian goalkeeper, which is why he may have played for Ubers. We know his hobby is preparing and packing, which also relates to his strength being he's preparing properly and always arrives early, while his weakness being he prepares too much and may get tired in a game. And we see his favourite food is his dad's meat roll-ups. We know his fetish relates to someone's back as they cook or clean, which is similar to his type too. We see he likes surprise presents while disliking wasting time. And we see he cries anytime he loses a match due to his own mistakes. We know he had 0 Valentine chocolates, but also that he hasn't fell in love yet or have someone confess to him. We know he has a strong bond with his dad, as on the last day on Earth he would spend time with him, and if he received 100 million yen he would just give it all to him. And if he had a time machine, he would visit the past simply to see his mother who died before he can remember. The next U20 member is Wakasuki, whose character colour is grey-brown and his weapon being his judgment. He is from the Shimane Prefecture and previously played for Jubilee Iwata. A large portion of his character theme relates to sleep, including his motto where sleep saves everything. And we see his hobby is also sleeping and researching sleep. Another thing is he has a talking gimmick where he says yeah after every sentence. For example, his strength is he can take care of himself and doesn't push himself, yeah. And even his favourite food being Kyoho grapes, as they are juicy, yeah. We see he is a big fan of Spirited Away, including his favourite song being the main theme. His favourite animal is a raccoon, as is being told that he looks like one. And we see he hates sharing a bed because it ruins his sleep. We know he doesn't really cry much because if your emotions are unstable you'll get sick, yeah. As for the bonus questions, on his last day on Earth he would have the best sleep ever, and if he was given 100 million yen he would upgrade his bedroom. He spends his day off by resting his brain and body, yeah, and he would bring a bed to a deserted island, yeah. And he would pick the future as he wants to figure out how people of the future sleep, yeah. The next U20 character to talk about is Hayate, whose character colour is lavender red, and his weapon being his ability to identify more dangerous strikers. He is from the Chiba Prefecture and previously played for Birch United Chiba. We go on to see his motto is live life with a relaxed attitude, where his strength is his ability to forgive others, while also leading to his weakness as he forgives everything, so sometimes he loses his core. And we also see his hobby is stretching as he still wants to grow taller, and we see he has a niche favourite song as it's just his name. We also see his favourite player is Sergio Busquets, who's also a defensive midfielder for Spain, which is the team he joined in the NEL. We see his favourite subject is biology as he has an interest in plants, and he likes trust and being left alone, while disliking restriction and control as they prevent him from doing the things he likes. We know he spends his time off by gardening and tending to his farm, and if he wasn't a soccer player he would be a botanist. We see he would bring tomato seeds to a deserted island since they grow all year and are a good source of food, and if he had a time machine he would go into the past simply because he'd like to explore the forest behind his grandpa's house as it was lost to urban development. Next up is our first U20 forward, and that is Cho, whose character colour is beige and his weapon is his post play, making use of his height. We know he is from the Fukushima Prefecture and previously played for Kyoraku University. He is currently also our third tallest player at 6'4". We see that his motto is become a superhuman, where his self-proclaimed strength is he can do almost anything, while his weakness is he can't think of any. His hobbies include bodybuilding and working out, and his favourite movie is 2001's A Space Odyssey, where his favourite song is also from that movie. His fetish are shoulders, and the thing that makes him most happy are people acknowledging his super qualities, or disliking when other people do something more super than him. We continue to the additional questions and we see that his character theme relates to being superhuman, including his favourite legend being Superman, building a super training room given 100 million yen, and even would be a super athlete in another sport. We see he would pick a boat simply to escape quickly, and he would pick the future to see what kind of people become great people and compare answers with the present. The other U20 forward is Kitsune Zato, whose character colour is fox orange, which is a pun on his name, and his weapon being his explosiveness and jumping from behind. We see he is from Hokkaido and his previous team being Dosenkoro Sapporo. We see that his motto is it's okay to run away from things you don't like, but don't run away from the things you do. And we know his strength is he knows what he likes and dislikes, while his weakness being he is too black and white. We go on to see that his favourite animal is a rabbit, and we know he has a pet one, and we also see he likes big round ears. The thing that makes him most happy is being directly and clearly told that they like him, while disliking negotiations. We see he would raise rabbits if he got 100 million yen. We see his favorite historical person being Xing Shao Huang, as he had a lot of influence in Kingdom, and we see he picks the future as he wants to see how many friends he's gained. Our final character is the ace of the U20 team, Sendo. His character colour is salmon pink, with his weapon being his pride as an ace and his dedication to defending in front of the goal. We see he doesn't seem to have a motto, and his favourite celebrity are just celebrities in general. His self-proclaimed strength is his star quality, and his weakness is he is weak under pressure. And we see that his hobby is girl hunting. We see that his fetish are girls in general, and his ideal type is anyone that is cute. We know he loves being praised and showered with attention, where we know his family also spoiled him, leading to his current personality. We see the thing that makes him most sad is being made fun of, where it even made him cry as people online were bullying him too much. We see he got 88 Valentine chocolates, which makes him number 1 in the U20 team. On his additional questions, we see he likes to throw parties and having dates, and we see if he wasn't playing soccer then he'd play any major sport as long as he gets famous. His favourite historical figure is Colonel Sanders because he created KFC, and if he was stuck on a deserted island he would bring his jersey, so he never forgets who he is. And finally we see he picks the future simply to see who he marries, even going on to say he would marry someone else. Besides the actual plays in the U20 match, the other characters to talk about are Ego and Henri. We see that Ego is born March 31st, which is a day before Isugi, and he is 30 years old. And we see there's a lot of unanswered questions for his character, including the fact we don't get a specific motto from him. We do know his hobby is watching soccer, which leads into his strength of only being interested in soccer, which is also his weakness. And he also seems to love his instant yakisoba noodles. The thing that would make him most happy is if Japan won the World Cup, and the thing that makes him most sad is when soccer is taken away from him, which may foreshadow what happened to him in his past. And finally we see his favourite brand are the Blue Lock's product sales department, and if he got 100 million yen, he would use it to enhance the Blue Lock facility. On his day off he thinks about how Japan can be number 1 in the world, and if he wasn't into soccer he would be a novelist or movie director. Finally he would bring a knife to a deserted island so he could live or die by his own hand, and if he had a time machine he'd go in the future to see how his life would end. On to the other faculty member we have Henri, whose character colour is ivory white, and we know she's from the Akita prefecture and we're given her measurements. Her motto is focus with all your heart, and her favourite player is Thierry Henry, which is a similar name to her own. We also know her strength is she doesn't get scared easily, and her weakness being when she focuses on something that she loses sight of everything around her. And we know her hobby is watching soccer and searching spicy food. We know she is bad at cooking, and her ideal partner is someone smart, funny and loyal. We also know the thing that makes her most happy is being encouraged and being introduced to new spicy food. Similar to Ego, she would invest 100 million yen into the Blue Lock project, and if she wasn't into soccer she would be running a super spicy food blog and travel around Japan. And finally she would pick the future as she wants to watch Japan win the World Cup. But besides the plays in the Blue Lock vs U20 match, we also get a couple from the NEL, and the first one is Mikhail Kaiser. We know his character colour is metallic blue, and his weapon being his Kaiser Impact in his Metavision. We also know he is born on Christmas, and he comes from Berlin, Germany, and we also know he has the highest grip strength. We know his nickname is Emperor of the Blue Rose, and his motto is be the symbol of impossible. We know his hobby is reading psychology and philosophy books, and his strength is he looks down on humans. And we also know his weakness is his crazy bed hair, and we also know his least favourite food is milk. We see he didn't go into school, and his favourite type is someone full of love, while his fetish is the faces of despair. We go on to see the thing that makes him most happy is being treated like an enemy, while the most sad is receiving gifts as he doesn't know how to react. Since he is from Germany, he doesn't know the difference between the two chocolates and just picks mushrooms. The last gift he asked for was freedom, and on his last day on Earth he'll just regret and go on to see the different ways he could have lived. We also see if he wasn't a soccer player he'd be a criminal or starve to death, and he would select the future as he believes there's no salvation in looking into the past. The other Bastard Munich member we have is Alexis Ness, whose character colour is magical purple and his weapon being his magical passes and crosses. And we know he is from Hamburg and has a scientist family. We know his motto is magic resides in those who believe, and his favourite player is Kaiser. And we know his nickname is the Magician and his hobby is finding magic around the world. We also see his strength as he can value things that are invisible to the naked eye, and his weakness being he is too stubborn. His favourite type is someone strong who can control their loneliness, and his fetish is faces that look lonely as it's relatable. We see the thing that makes him most happy is when someone shares the same emotions, while the thing that makes him most sad is when the magic he believes in gets rejected. Since he lives in a science household, they don't celebrate Christmas, but we still know he would wish for anything. Even if he wasn't a soccer player, he would still believe in magic, and if he was stuck on a deserted island, he would want to bring Kaiser. And finally he would pick the past simply to hug his younger self. As for the other NEL characters, we also get Don Lorenzo, who plays for Ubers. His character colour is zombie purple and his weapon being his zombie step. We know he is from Florence, Italy, and he doesn't know if he has any other younger siblings. We know that his motto is life's not something to throw away and his hobby is crazy parties. We know that he is super positive and only thinks in the moment. And we also know that his favourite food is caramel popcorn. We go on to see his nickname is the main character Eater, and his fetish and type is someone with a nice smile. We also know what makes him happy is his money, work and love, while the most sad is getting arrested, where we also see his talking gimmick where he says okay after sentences. We continue to see he is a party animal, and if he wasn't a soccer player he'd be dead in a ditch somewhere. And we know he picks the future as he wants to experience the fun things that have evolved. And so we've completed all the main character profiles, but there's still a few more. We briefly get the World 5 members and their ages, but we also get the NEL Master Strikers now, and the biggest shock here is that Snuffy is actually from Malta. We also seem to get a bunch of fodder characters' names and ages, including Chigiri's sisters, etc. In the original Egoist Bible, a lot of characters had a section called A Day in the Life at Blue Lock, which describes their daily life in the Blue Lock facility, including stuff like Isugi and Batra training, Nagi letting Isugi's phone to play games, Baro threatening to kill Nagi, and even Kira looking to negate Ego's plans. In the second Egoist Bible, we also get an additional section for each character talking about a day in the life at Blue Lock right before the U20 match, although this is just reserved for the actual Blue Lockers and not the U20 members. For example, we have Batra try to grab Isugi's hair and started screaming harvesting time. We have Karasu and Hiyori meet up again in the bath, and we also know some Blue Lockers like Ishikari and Kiora played basketball together. In the original data book we had 20 questions, with each one having 2 people commenting, one about the best and one about the worst. Now starting with the questions, we have the most physically strong, which we have Kunigami, and the weakest being Ikuguri. The second question is who's most mentally strong, with Isugi winning as he's grown the most, and Kira voted worst based on his elimination, even worse than Tokamitsu. For speed, we only have Chigiri and Zentetsu, there's no third option, and we have Iemon as slowest. And we see Ikuguri's reasoning is because he's always played as goalkeeper. The best crosser or passer is Bachara, with Gagamaru praising his pass to Isagi and Ikuguri ranked last again, as Imamaru makes fun of him being bad at everything. As for the best fighter, we have Shido ranked first, with Kunigami following. Then the bottom 3 are just the weakest physical people. We have the stylish Ayu deemed as the best singer, and we have Tokamitsu praised his opera vocals, while the bottom 3 are Gagamaru, Ikuguri and Raiji, who by the way had a song which is unironically pretty catchy. The biggest eaters are no surprise, with the worst being Nagi as is too lazy to eat sometimes. We then have the most optimistic as Bachara, with Shido taking second place, which does fit based on his character, and obviously the most pessimistic is Tokamitsu. We have Kunigami take first place for hardest worker based on his physique, where once again Nagi is the solo worst person based on his laziness. The worst temper goes to Raichi as he screams all the time and even got angry he was voted first, which is a bit funny. As for the bottom 3, they are all drama-free people who are pretty chill. Baru is a clean freak, so he got first, while Batra placed last because he's too carefree and leaves a mess. We go on to see the most generous person is Ryo, who doesn't mind spending on others like Ikiguri stated, while Kuon ranked last sheerly because they don't trust him. Third place for both is Narahaya, probably to do with him stealing food, but also caring a lot for his family. For communication skills, Iemon describes our top 3, and as we note the edgelord Rin is in last place, even lower than Nagi. Ayu is by far the most glam and stylish, and the question was basically made for him. Academically, we have Ryo the best studier, which given his school and past makes sense, but personally Rin being that high surprised me most, as he's canonically bad at everything but English. And then there's no explanation needed for stupid Sentetsu being placed last. We have Batra as the funniest character, with Koen the least, with Izuki making fun of his naming conventions. Kira is obviously first, his number of Valentine chocolates speaks for itself, while Ikiguri is last once again. Romantically, the aggressive one to take initiative is no surprise, being both Imamaru and Otoya, and the worst being Nico, Tokumitsu and Nagi makes sense given their more introverted characters, or at least in Tokumitsu's case he's just a scaredy cat. Baru is the best at cooking, where we know he does cook for his sisters, while Gakamaru is ranked last as he eats raw food and doesn't really cook. And now we have the final question of this batch, and that's who has most friends, with Ryo coming in first, with Tokumitsu low-key flaming him. Meanwhile, Rin is ranked last and even below Nagi, as we see that one friend is more than none. With those 20 questions confirmed, we have Ryo as the ultimate egoist, as he placed best in the most categories, and to the surprise of no one, Ikiguri is placed last. With the latest Egoist Bible book, we get an additional 20 questions, but this time including the third selection and U20 members. Starting off, we revisit an old question of who is mentally strongest, but this time we have Ryo enter the worst category, with Tokumitsu once again flaming him. And then we have Shido take second place. As for the physically strongest character, we have Aiku, Baru and Neo, but surprisingly Tokumitsu isn't in the top 3. And then we have Ikiguri being the worst. We go on to see who's the fastest character, but this time we actually have a third candidate, and that is Yukamiya, with the worst being Neo, and surprisingly Hiruki is below Ikiguri. We have Sai as the best crosser or passer, with Batra followed by Hiyori, and then the bottom 3 include Ikiguri, Nanase and Ishikari. The person who would succeed most as a coach was voted as Aiku, and we see Baru's reasoning is a process of elimination. And then we have Izuki just say any of the bottom 3 would basically be a doomed team. The top 3 cries are Chigiri, Yukami and Batra, who have all seen cry in the series, and the bottom 3 are Sai, Baru and Gagamaru, with Ayu saying that if Sai even cried it would still be stylish. We have Rin ranked first for the person with the strongest psychic ability, which relates to his horror theme, and then we have Gagamaru ranked last. The 3 people who have the strongest desire to change are Ryo, Izuki and Sendo, the 3 people who have changed most in the series, with the bottom 3 characters happy who they are. We have Yukamiya placed as first for the most gentleman-like person, with the 2 playboy characters plus Shido the violent person placed last. We go on to see the best listener is Hiyori, and the worst one being Rin. The biggest party animals are funny enough the same people who are ranked last and the most gentleman-like. And we have Otoya being happy being placed first. We then have Izuki deemed the one with the most tremendous luck, with Rin being placed last, and Nagi's comment is simply because he lost the brother catcher, where having Sai as your brother could be both considered lucky and unlucky. We have Batra have the nicest smile, with Nagi being the worst, with Baru commenting he's never seen him smile, or his teeth. We have Yukamiya placed first in who could debut in the entertainment industry, with Sendo stating that he's jealous and wants to debut too, and then Nagi is placed the worst simply because he wouldn't be into it. Surprisingly, we have Ayu placed first for the most family oriented player, with Nico second, with the bottom 2 being the Itoshi brothers, and then we also have Izuki's comment saying how they think about each other. As for the biggest gourmet, we have Aiku, as we see Neo's comment saying that he takes a lot of girls out. And then we have Nagi as the worst, as Ryo knows his living conditions. The next question is who would thrive most in the heat of the Warring States era, with Karasu placing first, as we have Hiri praise him as a general. And then we have Sendo place last place, as Shido describes it, he'll just get himself killed. As for the most reliable big brother, we have Aiku take first place, as Neru praises him as a good captain and person looking out for people. And then we have Nanase placed worst, simply because he's more of a little brother. Surprisingly, the one with the longest eyelashes is actually Chigiri and not the Itoshi brothers. And then we have last place being Atoya, where both comments basically make fun of each other in a good banter way. And the final question, we have Bachara as the one who likes to strip on a whim, whereas last place is Nico, where he comments that he doesn't like to be a pervert. With the 20 questions in the second book, we have Aiku take first place and Nagi being the worst egoist. Finally, there's an additional interview with the author, but it's very lengthy so I won't go through it all. Instead, I'll just link Hoshi's translations in the comments and display a few things that I think are interesting from it, including the reason that Shido's hair looks like the girl from Sex Education in Sai's past in Spain. And with that, both books should be complete, and if there are any errors, please do let me know and make a comment. Otherwise, thanks for watching, Buddha be praised, and have a good day.